I'm Bev Turner. This is GB News Originals, and I'm delighted to say that I'm talking today to the head of the Conservatives for the London Assembly, Susan Hall. Susan Hall, it's the day after the victory of Mamdani in New York City, the new mayor. There are parallels between him and your adversary, let's describe it that way, the London Mayor Sadiq Khan MP. So, well, no, he's not an MP, is it? London Mayor, he'd like to be. Sadiq Khan, what are your thoughts as you watch that victory come through? Susan, I've been dying to talk to you about this. I think you have a unique perspective.
Well, I just feel really sorry that New York have decided to do this, because it's almost like they're sleepwalking into a disaster, and a disaster it will be. I mean, some of the things he's promised are just hopeless. Rent freezing, for one thing. Sadiq Khan would love to do that. It doesn't work. That doesn't work. It's been proven in other countries. It doesn't work. To defund the police, have you ever heard of anything more ridiculous? Free bus fares, free this, free everything else. Well, we all know nothing is free. Somebody has to pay for things. And if I've looked at bits and pieces of budget, and it's just not adding up. But I mean, it's like Sadiq Khan, he promised goodness knows what in order to get elected. And it looks very much like Mamdani has done the same.
It astonishes me, actually, that Sadiq Khan has been in office for nearly 10 years now as London Mayor. And as someone who's lived in London that time, I've seen it go downhill in every single area. Nothing working, the streets being messy, bins unemptied, graffiti everywhere. All of this sort of low-level disintegration of the social fabric. No pride in our streets. As his opposition and as leader of the Conservatives in London Assembly, can you explain why London has managed to deteriorate so much? Because he must see it. Sadiq Khan isn't blind. He lives in London. He must be able to see the things that we see. Or does he not?
Well, I don't think he does, because if you think about it, if you travel on our underground, you just have to go in carriages and see graffiti everywhere. Well, because he doesn't. He's driven around by armed officers. He has two massive vehicles that travel around with him. So he's kept away from that. He's kept away from the violence on the streets because he's always with his safety officers. So he's kept away from all the issues the rest of us have to put up with. So he doesn't see, and it's been getting much worse, but over a period of time. I mean, the fact that he's not funding the police properly is causing major problems. But I mean, Mamdani has said he would like them defunded. I mean, honestly, have you ever known anything like it? And of course, Sadiq Khan has allowed through the police all these dreadful demonstrations, Palestinian demonstrations all through London for the last year or so. And our Jewish community doesn't feel safe at all. I can see the same sort of issues happening to wonderful New York, and it's dreadful, because I mean, I don't know what you feel of New York. I've always loved it, absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I do. I love New York. I was there only a couple of weekends ago, but it feels very densely populated, to state the obvious. So does London. The pavements are very busy. It's still, actually, the term melting pot was used initially to describe New York because it was so multicultural. And that was in the 1920s. They were talking about it in that way. I'm interested what you say, though, about Sadiq Khan just not being able to relate to Londoners because he lives this rarefied existence. Do you think that when he first came into office, he did understand it? And is it therefore inevitable that if you're in that very privileged position with security and close protection detail and blacked out Range Rovers, maybe it's inevitable that you lose touch with your voters?
I think that's right. And we do see that with all politicians, don't we? If you've not been living the life of a Londoner or a New Yorker, you are going to lose touch with what people are generally thinking. And I mean, this Mamdani worries the life out of me. I mean, if you look at the budgets for New York, what job has he ever done that he could actually cope with that? I've did some looking into him, and I mean, I see that he worked as a housing counsellor. Well, I mean, these are massive budgets. Sadiq Khan's got a £21 billion budget. New York's budget's even bigger, and the responsibilities. And it doesn't seem to me he's ever had a job that would set him up properly to be able to cope with all that power and money and deal with it in a proper way.
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control even? Well, TallyMoney is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. What is TallyMoney?
Well, at TallyMoney, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code, an account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you do that, though? What is the benefit to the customer instead of just having a normal pound sterling account?
Gold's performance against the pound is above 11% per annum over the last 25 years on average. But we still need money in our daily lives, and we have savings. We know that it's good common sense and prudent to save up for things, not just living credit. You know, whether it's a holiday or a rainy day, your retirement planning, you need to have money in your life, basically, that you can rely on, that's dependable, that nobody meddles with, that nobody can weaponize against you, which is another element of government control when it's the government currency, which we could talk about another time. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward, and that's what we deliver at Tally. And really, we just want people to feel safe and happy with their money. There was a time when the bigger your bank balance, the more confident you felt. Now it's like, I need to do something with it. I can't leave it there. In Tally, you can.
Okay, brilliant. Cameron Parry from TallyMoney. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev.
Does it matter that he is Muslim, Mamdani? This is. And has that played a part in him becoming elected? Does he have funders who share a very left-wing Islamic ideology? And how much has that played, do you think, a part in his election?
I'm too far away to actually judge that. I don't know. I mean, I don't look at him as a Muslim. I look at him as a young man with absolutely no experience whatsoever, with idealistic very left-wing views, as in rent controls, defund the police, giving everything away free, which we all know doesn't work because, Bev, you and I know you have to work for money, you know, and nothing is free.
Yeah.
The fact that he won't criticise the comments, globalise the intifada. I mean, some of these things to me are massive red flags. It's not his religion. It's all the things around it that would, to me, be a red flag. But clearly, New Yorkers thought that he was the answer. I only hope that after one term, they realise, like we are realising in England, that the Labour government are an utter disaster. I hope that they realise quickly and possibly change their minds in 4 years' time. But somebody can do an awful lot of damage in 4 years.
Mm. I mean, did you say that it's you don't view him as a Muslim as such? And obviously that is the comparison that people have made between him and Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan himself has said that comparison is racist. He says it's prejudice to draw that comparison. But there are people who very much worry, who have what might be described as a valid grievance about the Islamification of certain cultures, Western cultures. We see it with festivals which are celebrated. I've got family members, and their school in West London was closed for Eid with very little notice to working parents. Now, I find that astonishing that we close schools in the UK for Muslim festivals, because I don't know where everybody voted for that. I don't know where the agreement was that that was going to happen. And it's a Muslim minority school that I'm talking about as well. Do people have valid concerns about the erosion of a British Christian identity when we have more and more people in positions of power who are Muslim?
Yes, I think in general in this country, in England, we do have severe concerns about our own identity. I mean, Sadiq Khan is always saying diversity is our strength. Yes, it might be, but only when you've got proper integration. The problem we've got, and you've been here for forever, Bev, is the fact that we do not have proper integration, because we've got so many people coming into the country recently. They are not integrating properly, and we've got whole areas of the country that are just one particular culture, and that is affecting everything, because within those areas sometimes people don't speak our language, they don't have our values, and this is where things are going wrong. But with regard to Mamdani, I look at what I perceive he can and can't do, and I would be particularly concerned about his ability to be the mayor. Beyond anything else, I don't know. I haven't been around New York, so I don't know anything else that he's been saying. But people are particularly worried. I mean, in America, you've got Trump now, who's trying to deal with illegal immigrants coming, and he seems to be doing very, very well. In our country, as you know, Bev, we're doing very, very badly. So we're getting more and more people in that don't speak the language, that come from a different culture, and it seems that we're being swamped. Certainly, that's the feeling we're getting, and that will lead to trouble. I've absolutely no doubt about that.
What do you mean by that? Because I think from what I'm observing in London at the moment is lots of people just deciding to move away because they don't recognise their high street. They are they're fatigued by the idea that shop frontages are written in Arabic or Bengali. I mean, we've got a tube station with the name of the tube station written in Bengali, which I find absolutely astonishing. And I think people are just leaving because they don't feel at home anymore. And I think we may see something similar in New York. We're reading this morning about there being a flight, particularly of the wealthy from New York, who are now looking at buying properties in Florida because Mamdani's talking about taxing the super wealthy. Do you think there is an argument to be said that the super wealthy with billions in the bank probably could pay a little more towards genuine everyday New Yorkers who might need help?
I think they would do in many instances. In London, I know why people are leaving, because some people that funded my mayoral election campaign, they've gone off to Dubai because they didn't feel safe on the streets anymore. And of course, when Labour came in, the taxation of them was just all too much. So off they went. We're also finding that we're losing lots of businesses because of the increase in national insurance to tax, which is a tax on employers, which is messing the economy up as well. So I think people are leaving London for lots of reasons. It's also very, very expensive. We're all holding our breath because we've got a big budget coming.
Yeah.
So I think that New York is going to be on the beginning of this journey. It's the left-wing woke socialists that think they've got it right because everything in the garden is rosy. And of course, we all know it's not. Life isn't like that. And you can't just say, I'll give all these things away without having a proper plan of how it's going to be paid for. And you cannot just constantly take money from those that are working or those that are super wealthy, because the super wealthy can literally up sticks and go anywhere in the world they want. Whereas, you know, most of us can't do that. We can't move far.
Yeah. I as a journalist, one of the regular encounters that I find most frustrating to watch is you trying to get Sadiq Khan to answer a question. And what is it like for you in the London Assembly when you're trying to hold that man to account and he just arrogantly sits there and shrugs or doesn't say anything or obfuscates or avoids the question? Just what is that like for you, Susan?
It's so frustrating because the worst thing of all, I mean, it's one thing if I'm asking about potholes or something. I mean, I don't ask about things that trivial, but I mean, if it was like that, but I've been asking about the grooming gangs, and he pretended he didn't know what I was talking about. And because it went viral, so many girls that have been drawn into grooming gangs have contacted me. It's absolutely shocking. We've got a dreadful situation in London, and he must have known, but he didn't admit to it. He wouldn't discuss it. I think he thinks it's below him. He doesn't like women. It's quite obvious. I don't blame him not liking me. I went against him for the mayoralty. I'm a Tory, which he doesn't like. So, you know, I tick all the boxes for him not to like me, which is fine. But I'm actually asking questions on behalf of Londoners, and he doesn't see the need to answer anybody. So I find it very, very frustrating. But I will continue to do it. It's my job. But I only hope that Mamdani hasn't got the same sort of faults. I hope that he is responsive when people ask him things, and I hope he learns by his mistakes, because Sadiq Khan doesn't and won't.
And when you see Sadiq Khan in the building, or you cross paths as you're coming in and out, or you're in other committee meetings or social occasions with him, do you talk to each other then convivially, or is it just impossible?
I've never had a private meeting with him. He rarely has them with anybody. He'll have them with his Labour members, but he rarely talks to anybody else. I've been in the lift with him in the old City Hall, and he ignored me completely. The most conversations I get are out of all his security officers. They're absolutely delightful, but he treats me with complete contempt, which, you know, is fine. I tried to shake hands with him when he won the mayoralty, and he just ignored my hand as I put it towards him. So I think it says it all, but it says more about him than me. So I don't, you know, water off a duck's back, Bev.
Why has he won 3 terms, in your opinion? Why?
I think certain communities will always vote for him. They get instructions, I've been told, from the mosque, and they will all go out and vote for him. I mean, my vote was massive in Out of London, and I was so grateful to everybody that voted. But a few of the inner London boroughs, you could literally weigh his support base. But I think things will change slightly going forward. We've got different groups coming up. The Green Group is very, very left wing. He's far more interested in Palestine than anywhere else. And I think lots of his support will go in that direction. It'll be very interesting to see. May will be very interesting when it's our next elections. But I'm just praying that New York doesn't suffer like London has.
You can't criticise the Muslim community for how organised they are. And actually, non-Muslim groups, church groups, community groups, everyday citizens, have been caught napping because the Muslim community is very organised. They've put each other in positions of power. You only have to look at councils across the country, and some of them have come from countries where democracy just doesn't exist, or their parents came from countries where democracy doesn't exist. And so they've come to the UK, and it's almost sort of beyond belief that they could get into a position in a council with a budget of hundreds of millions of pounds and have genuine power. And I think we Brits, whatever you want to call it, British-born people, have taken that for granted. And I think more fool us, because actually, if we do want to live in a country which we recognise as being fundamentally British, Christian, traditional, we need to conserve some elements of what it is to be British. And we will not do that if there are mosques in every town. And as you say, the communities are incredibly organised, and they will lend money to other people, their neighbours, their family, without interest in terms of mortgages, etc., etc. They help each other. They raise each other up in the community. And actually, white, British, either agnostic or Christian people have failed to do that, Susan. And there'll be some people who will say that's an incredibly controversial thing to say. And maybe it is, but I do think it's a fact.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt it is a fact. If you look at Tower Hamlets, I mean, that's exactly what's happened in Tower Hamlets. It seems relatives are in charge of all sorts of things, and we've sleepwalked into it, haven't we? The thing is, we are a generous nation and want to always look after the minority groups. I do wonder, when we're a minority group, whether we'll be looked after. I almost know the answer to that. But we should try and conserve some of our cultures, some of our beliefs, some of our way of life. And as I said before to you, it's all very well, lots of people coming in, and diversity is a strength if we get proper integration. But we're not. And how Sadiq Khan and his cronies have managed this all this time is, the minute anybody says anything that they don't agree with or isn't exactly what they say, they call you racist. And during the mayoralty, there were pictures of my face all over London on leaflets with racist written across it. That was done by a charity group called Hope Not Hate. And of course, that's the worst thing in the world, to be called racist, even more so if you're a politician. But I think now things are changing, because those of us that are on the right, and I definitely am, those of us that are on the right are now saying, hang on a minute, I've had enough of that. Call me racist if you like, but I'm not. We've got to start standing up for our values, our culture, and our way of life. I do believe that.
How inspiring is it to you to watch President Trump here in America? And I've often thought of you when I've seen him laying into Sadiq Khan. Sometimes I asked him that very question and got that answer, Susan. How sort of satisfying is it to you when he just does not hold back and he criticises the London mayor?
I love it. It makes my day. It really does make my day, because I know one of the things that really annoys Sadiq Khan, other than myself, is Donald Trump. And of course, during the mayoralty, the one thing he kept saying that he hated is that I was a Trump supporter. And he used it because he thought it would make everybody hate me. And that's why he said it. But the way he treated Donald Trump the first time round, with that blimp that went up, utterly disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. He's been elected by the Americans and he should be shown great respect. But Sadiq Khan doesn't know how to show anybody respect. I've got no time for him, as you may have guessed.
Thank you, Susan. I really appreciate your time today. So I am Bev Turner. This is GB News Originals. Please remember to like and subscribe, and you can download the GB News app from your app store.